Today on an all-new Dr. Phill, the dispute over gender pronouns.
I don't identify exclusively with being a man or a woman. I use they and them as my pronouns.
You don't get your own pronouns.
You think it's a delusion.
In school, our kids are being asked what their pronoun is.
This is a war on gender.
Babies are babies without a known sex.
When they were born, we did not assign a sex.
You think it's toxic to label the child one way or the other. Well, I have a question. Raise your hand if you have heard of gender pronouns such as he, she, or they, and Z or V. Raise your hand if you're confused about how to use them in today's social climate. Yeah. I'm asking these questions because approximately 1.2 million people in the U.S. identify as non-binary, meaning they don't identify as she or he, but they and other pronouns. Now, as society's attitudes about gender are continuously evolving, the practice of specifying one's pronouns is relatively new. Now, I just want to say, I don't have all the answers, not even close, but I'm totally open to learning, and I want this to be a safe place to talk about and learn. But not every person is on board with this new movement. Half of Americans say they feel very or somewhat comfortable using gender-neutral pronouns, while 48% say they feel very or somewhat uncomfortable using them. Now, this growing debate regarding the use of pronouns has this country pretty divided. Take a look.
Controversy tonight over a new policy on how gender identity is addressed.
You may notice that at the bottom of your emails or in Zoom meetings, the listing of pronouns next to someone's name.
When should you use the pronouns he, him, or she, hers? UCLA's Wilson Institute estimates just under 0.5% of us are non-binary, meaning neither male nor female, or identify with a gender not assigned at birth.
Point Park University in the middle of a national dispute over pronouns.
Point Park warns students if they use the wrong pronouns on a student, if an individual is impacted in a harmful way, action could be taken.
A kindergarten teacher is facing outrage after discussing gender identity with her students.
The kindergartners came home very confused about whether or not you can pick your gender, whether or not they really were a boy or a girl.
Many parents say they feel betrayed and blindsided.
I want her to hear from me as a parent what her gender identity means to her. My daughter went home crying, shaking, so afraid that she could turn into a boy.
Well, there's no denying it. Gender pronouns are a big topic of conversation that cannot and should not be ignored. And my first guests, Addison and Ethan, have a lot to say.
I'm Addison.
And I'm Ethan.
We've been together for about
5 years.
And married
for 3 years.
I use they, them pronouns. Being non-binary just means that I just don't identify with the gender I was assigned at birth, and I don't identify exclusively with being a man or a woman. I'm something in between, outside of that binary.
My pronouns are he or they. I also identify as a non-binary. To me, being a non-binary means having the sense of freedom to explore my gender in whichever way I want. I don't have to perform or pretend to be someone that I'm not. I can be my authentic self.
It's really important for us to share more information with people because people are curious, they want to understand, but sometimes they don't always have the opportunities to do that.
Welcome.
Hi.
You were watching the tape piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a hot topic.
Yes.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why is it a good thing?
I guess because it creates dialogue and it invites conversation to learn about other people.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are really confused about gender identity in these times, and it's good for us to have these conversations so people open their minds and relearn and unlearn to what we've been taught.
Right. And Addison, many people think gender pronouns are exclusive to the LGBTQ plus community, but that's a misconception, true?
Yeah. Well, everybody has pronouns. Like, you may use he and him as your pronouns, right?